The air in our house was thick with joy. It was a special night. Family came from everywhere. Music played loudly from the big speakers in the living room. The smell of jollof rice and fried plantain filled every corner. It was rich and sweet. It made you hungry even if you had just eaten. My cousins were shouting and running outside. Their feet made soft sounds on the grass. The grown-ups were talking. Their voices were a happy hum. Laughter would burst out, loud and sudden like a firework in the dark sky. This was how our family gatherings always were, full of life, full of noise, full of love that you could almost touch. I watched everyone from my chair. Auntie Ugo was telling a long story. She used her hands a lot. Uncle Emeka was laughing at her. His big belly shook with each laugh. My mother moved through the crowd. She carried a tray of drinks. She smiled at everyone. Her smile was tired but happy. The lights in the house were warm and yellow. They made everything look soft. They made people's faces glow. I felt a deep warmth inside me. It was the feeling of belonging, the feeling of being home with everyone who mattered. It was a perfect evening, one I thought I would remember for its simple happiness. My older brother, Cheek, was there too. He was 34 years old. He had dark skin that looked like polished wood under the lights. His hair was short and dark. His brown eyes were usually full of mischief, but tonight, they were quiet. They were thoughtful. He wore simple blue jeans and a clean white V-neck t-shirt. He stood by the window, away from the main group. He was watching the people just like me. He was not laughing or talking much. He just watched with a strange stillness that was not like him. He looked like a man holding a heavy secret in his hands. I saw him look at me. His eyes met mine across the room. He gave a small nod. It was a signal. It meant he wanted to talk. I felt a small shiver of worry. Cheek was my big brother. He was my protector. We did not have secrets. Or so I thought. His serious face was unusual. It made the loud music seem to fade away. The happy noise of the party became a distant buzz. Suddenly, the only thing that felt real was my brother's quiet gaze. I knew this night was about to change. The simple happiness was about to become something more complicated. Cheek walked towards me. He moved slowly. He did not push through the crowd. He moved around it. It was like he did not want to disturb the happy scene. He came to my chair and leaned down. His voice was low, just for me. "Can we talk?" he asked. His voice was soft, not like the loud voices of our uncles. Outside, on the veranda. I nodded without speaking. I put my cup down on the small table beside me. The cold drink had left a wet circle on the wood. I stood up and followed him. Nobody seemed to notice us leave. The party was a world of its own, and we were stepping out of it. We went through the back door. The cool night air touched my skin. It was a relief from the heat inside. The veranda was empty. The music was softer here. We could still hear the laughter, but it was far away. The only light came from the moon and the yellow glow from the windows. Cheek did not sit down. He stood by the railing, looking out into the dark garden. His shoulders were tense. He held the wooden railing with both hands. His knuckles were white. He was nervous. I had never seen my brother nervous before. He was always so sure, so confident. "Are you okay, Cheek?" I asked. My voice was small in the quiet. He did not turn to look at me. He kept his eyes on the darkness. For a long time he said nothing. The silence between us grew. It was not a comfortable silence. It was a heavy one. It was filled with things not being said. I could hear the crickets chirping in the garden. Their sound was loud in the stillness. I waited. I knew this was important. I knew I had to be patient. My brother, the strong one, needed something from me. He needed me to just be there and listen to the quiet. Finally, he took a deep breath. The sound was loud in the night. "I wanted to tell you something," he said. He turned his head slightly. I could see his profile in the moonlight. His face was serious. His jaw was tight. "I did not want you to hear it from someone else, from Mama or Papa." This made my heart beat faster. Secrets that involved Mama and Papa were always big. They were always heavy. I leaned against the wall of the house. I prepared myself. I knew that whatever he said next would stay with me for a long time. The perfect evening was now a memory from a different time. "I am moving away," Cheek said. The words were simple. They were quiet, but they landed with great force. It felt like a stone had been dropped into a calm pool of water. The ripples spread through me, cold and fast. Moving away? Cheek had always been here. He lived just a few streets away. He was a constant presence, like the sun that rose every morning. The idea of him not being here was impossible to understand. It was like trying to imagine a sky without a sun. He was part of the foundation of my world. His presence was something I never questioned. I stared at him, waiting for more. I thought he meant moving to another city in Nigeria, maybe for a new job. That would be hard, but not impossible. But then he spoke again. "I am moving to Canada," he said. Canada! The word sounded so foreign, so far away. It was a place on a map, a cold country I saw in movies. It was not a real place where my brother would live. It felt like he was telling me he was moving to the moon. I could not form a reply. My mind was empty of words. I could only repeat the name of the country in my head, Canada. He finally turned to face me fully. His brown eyes were sad. They were apologetic. "I've been planning it for a year," he confessed. "I have a job there. Everything is ready. I leave in 2 months." A whole year. He had been carrying this secret for a whole year. While we had our normal dinners, while we laughed at his jokes, he was planning his escape. He was building a new life, far away from us. I felt a sting of betrayal. It was a small, sharp pain in my chest. Why did he not tell me? We told each other everything. We were not just siblings, we were friends. "Why?" I finally managed to ask. The word was barely a whisper. I felt like a child again, small and confused. He looked down at his hands. He seemed to be studying his own fingers. "I need something different," he said softly. "Something that is just for me, not for the family, not for what everyone expects." He looked up at me again. "I need to find out who I am, without all of this." He gestured back towards the house, towards the noise and the laughter. He was not just leaving the country. He was leaving a part of himself behind. He was leaving us. A silence settled between us again, but this time, it was different. It was not heavy with things unsaid. It was filled with the truth. The truth of his decision lay in the space between us. I thought about his words. "I need to find out who I am." I had never thought about Cheek needing to find himself. To me, he was always just Chike, my strong older brother. I never saw him as a man with his own secret dreams and fears. I only saw the role he played in our family, the reliable son, the protective brother. I realized I did not know him as well as I thought. I walked over to him and stood by his side at the railing. I did not say anything. I just stood there. I wanted him to know that I was with him, that I understood, or that I was trying to understand. He looked at me, and a small, sad smile touched his lips. It was the first time he had smiled since we came outside. "I wanted you to be the first to know," he said, "because you see things. You understand." His words made me feel proud, but they also made me feel sad. He was giving me the gift of his truth, but it was a truth that would take him away from me. I knew this moment would be etched in my memory forever. It was the night the music stopped for me. It was the night my brother showed me his true heart. A heart that was not just part of a family, but a heart that belonged to itself. He was not just my brother. He was Cheek, a man with a quiet dream of a life across the ocean. The family gathering inside was still loud. The laughter still burst into the night. But for me, the party was over. My world had shifted on its axis. It was quieter now. More thoughtful. More real. I learned something important that evening on the veranda. I learned that people, even the ones you love the most, have hidden rooms inside them. They have plans and dreams that they keep in the quiet. And sometimes, if you're lucky, they open the door and let you look inside. Chike's confession was not just an announcement, it was an invitation. It was an invitation to see him as a whole person. The memory of that night was not about the jollof rice or the music. It was about the silence on the veranda and the new, fragile understanding that grew between a brother and his sister.